Yes, indeed, family. What's going on? This is Monday Quality Talks, and I realized that I actually just forgot to mute my mic. Can you see that? That's because you're multitasking. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is MQT number 22, and it's Monday, the 19th of April. Yes. How are you all doing? I hope well. I hope that you started your week uh, with the best of energy possible, that your weekend has been soothing, relaxing. As you know, last week I was supposed to do the show, but I had some unforeseen circumstances related to making the album, etc. So I could not run the show. But here we are back again, indeed. Tonight, today, this afternoon, wherever you are located in the world, I have the pleasure to host a dear friend, a sister, a big sister of mine. Oh my God. Um, I've been blessed with her presence several times. She's based out of Montreal, Canada. She has helped me tremendous times with physical pains, also bringing me into this journey of even listening to myself and going really into this proper use of food and using food as a mean to heal. As a matter of fact, I was extremely sick on one of my journeys in Canada back in, I believe, 2012. And oh my God, this sister, this woman, this queen has took care of me with a family with so much love and so much grace that it is only but right for me to, introduce her to my people, to you, ladies and gentlemen, and to really get you acquainted with this amazing soul that she is and her practice and her business at the end of the day, because that's what it is also about, is making sure that we also are of service to people, but able to make a living from that. And I count on your beautiful support to make sure after or through this show you go on your socials and you follow her on Instagram, and you make sure you just support her. Man, Madame, Miss, I don't know if you can, no, you cannot say Miss, Madame Karla Gomez La Peña. She is a breathwork, quantum flow, Ayurvedic practitioner, and she is here with us for a very beautiful session that I believe will be quite amazing as far as introducing you guys to what all this means. You know, the whole breathwork, the whole quantum flow, which I can tell you, I tried it. Mind blowing, like crazy how it works, amazing. And the Ayurvedic treatment that she's provided to me many years ago still remains something that I hold close to some of my best memories of quick and efficient healing when in absolute need of it. Let me bring to the floor the beloved sister, indeed, Karla Gomez La Peña. Indeed, what's going on, sister? How are you doing? Welcome.
Oh, Bodhi, you are definitely my baby brother. I love you so much. Thank you so
Likewise.
much for hosting me today. And that edification was really nice. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being part of this conversation, which I believe is super important. And given your perspective, given also your experience in life and your practice as a healer, but also as a woman, a mother to two beautiful children. I think your take is going to be very interesting and very important as we talk about trusting our instincts, especially in this time and age, and even more so through a pandemic.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. We can't even stress that enough, like this is really the time where fear, anxiety, and your own personal stress on yourself. Or there's a lot of financial difficulties for a lot of people now, and yeah, it's just going through the roof. So it's really the time to target, to ground, to like really get to know who you are and
Mm.
follow your instincts. It's an incredible time to do that. And I think a lot of people have been given the opportunity to do that more throughout this time in particular.
But how do you do that though? How would you? Because that's the thing. It's something that and again, I see a lot of people posting about this. A lot of people have done a lot of soul searching, of course, because you have more than enough time to do that. Some have not, because it's easier to just dive into whatever is superficial and whatever is going to be helping to I guess distract yourself from the problem at hand. But yeah, how do you go about doing just what you said? I mean, it's not easy for everyone.
No, absolutely not. And especially throughout this time, it's even more, you can even say it's even much more harder because of anxiety and fear per se, right? So this is like a really like big question. So let's just start.
We have time. Let's go. Let's get into it. Let's put some basics down.
All right. So let's get started with just basically what the pandemic has offered us. Okay, the pandemic has offered us to really focus on what is important. What's important to you? Who do you want to be around? And how do you amplify your gifts? Like, who are you? What is your purpose? What are you doing here on this planet at this time? And, how can that work for you? Right? So what's really important? Because a lot of times people are just so distracted all the time, right? And now we've been forced to either, if you're alone, to really do some soul searching and digging really deep into discovering, who is that person? And so a lot of that is not fun, right? Like, you really got to look yourself in the face and say, like, do I really like who I've become? Yeah,
I can take that. It's tricky. And I guess it's so painful as well for I mean, myself. I went through it, and it's a painful process, but it's a necessary one, right?
Absolutely. And I think that this time in particular, like, if it was so easy, everyone would be doing it, right? And we'd all be resonating at these levels of like beautiful energy and love and sharing and compassion and forgiveness and all of that stuff, right? But it's who you, if you really want to face yourself and to like help yourself overcome, the inner child or childhood trauma, even if it's micro or macro, like, this is really the time. There is time to do it.
And how? But this is the thing. There's time to do it.
Yes.
But yet, again, whenever given the opportunity, it seems like I notice it for myself, right? So I've been taking time away from my phone. So I would be before I would be constantly on my phone. Like, you would text me, I would literally be responding. Just I would be super connected. It was to a point where I would actually sense a text before it came.
You would sense the text.
Yes, it was that there was this level of synchronicity with me and my phone. It was just not healthy at all. And I've noticed that since I've been practicing about, for the past 3 months or so, I've been really 3.5 months ago, I've been really distanciating myself from the phone and not having it as close to me as it would be. Always have it on sleep on silent mode and do not disturb. This way I would not be disturbed by all these notifications, because I think that one of the main issue that we have is the distractions that we have at hand. It's easy to access anything, and yet we've become so lazy. Therefore, that laziness is creating this sense of like losing sight over understanding how our instincts are working. And so, can you maybe, according to you, what would you say is one of the basic concept about instincts, and how does it manifest itself eventually, especially in this time and age, right? Oh, well, just explain it to however you want to explain it to, based on whichever reference you may have.
Okay, so first of all, I want to just chime in on something you just said, okay?
Yeah, go
so
ahead.
I don't really believe it's laziness. I believe that we use distraction because it's a tool that stops us from really allowing ourselves to see ourselves. For example, if there's, Ayurvedically, there's three different kind of doshas, three different types of characteristics of, you can fit into three real categories of people, right? So one is a very creative, one is the fireball, and the other one is more the earthly, the rooted, the more loving and compassionate, right? So we have all of these three together. So when we have a distraction, it's not necessarily that you're lazy. It's that whichever one you really feel yourself more as to be, it's either that you're afraid to do any one of those three things, right? You're afraid to be more maybe creative. There's something blocking you. So you use a distraction so you don't have to go and do your creativity, right? Or you're the fireball and you got like so many things to do and your deadline. Maybe you can't handle one more deadline, right? And then the other one is more like that's more, the last one is more procrastination. Maybe you're afraid to face yourself, or there's so many different ways of looking at that in the first place. But I don't think it's laziness at any one of those forms. It's really to identify what actually is it in that space, in that moment in time, that you're maybe afraid to look at or afraid to do. So you're now using your phone or you're using your computer to like distract yourself, right? So I wouldn't label it lazy, because lazy is like you're kind of shaming the person into like thinking that they're not doing the work, right? There's always something that they're not
this
facing.
is really refined now. So basically, okay, I get it. So by saying that we became lazy, we kind of like already implementing a negative idea about someone being distracted from the actual, from actually listening to the instincts. Okay, so that's not being lazy. It's just attention being
distracted,
sidetracked, I guess. Okay,
thwarted. You're not listening to your soul. Let's call it your soul. Your soul is like shining beacon of light all the time, right? It doesn't feel angry, doesn't feel sad, doesn't feel disappointment, shame, guilt, whatever. It doesn't feel any of that stuff, right? It doesn't even feel happy or loved. It just exists.
Interesting.
Right?
It's because you would imagine that people, everybody, whenever you feel something so deeply, I felt it in my soul.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that so we're spiritual beings having a physical existence. So physically, we're going to feel stuff because that's how we're built. But like spiritually, you just exist. You're like electricity. You plug in the computer, it lights up. You unplug it from the electricity, it's still lighting up. It's just we're not tuning into it. Do you know what I mean? So we have to be really careful when we start labeling people and saying, oh my God, or even ourselves, right? Oh my God, I'm so lazy, I didn't do it. Right then and there, using the word lazy, it's like a negative vibration. You're already bringing yourself down, and you're already kind of shaming yourself. You're making yourself feel guilty about something that you didn't do, as opposed to, why am I not doing it? Why am I distracting myself? Why am I going to go make food and feed myself when I'm not even hungry? It's an emotional distraction. Why am I going to watch, 10 series of Netflix? Why am I going to do blah, 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 blah? Why am I doing that? And you have to ask yourself that question and be quiet and wait for the answer to come. Because your body always knows the truth, right?
Yeah, but,
the mind can play tricks. The mind can play tricks on you.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
the body will always tell you the truth.
Yeah.
You just have to listen. Make sense?
Yes, of course, it does make sense. However, I would say that I guess it's really learning how to speak to yourself and to others. And because you see, for example, right, this whole idea of saying that, oh, you're being lazy, and you're really edifying something by bringing this up. It really, I guess it really has a stigma attached to it, where
Absolutely.
but at the same time, it's like, but there are indeed lazy people. So what are we supposed to do? We're not supposed to call them lazy. What are we supposed to tell? Because a lot of people, I mean, or are we just supposed? So are we supposed to just be like, well, that's your journey and it's okay? But at the same time, man, and nothing's gonna move if you just look at everything that way, don't you think? Or
No. I'm not saying that you should forget about it or give yourself a hall pass. What I'm saying is ask yourself, why am I not doing, like, let's say you're in university or you're in school. Why am I not studying for my exam? Why am I not doing my paper? If you're doing a record, why didn't I finish my record last week? If somebody has a presentation, why I'm not working on my presentation? And instead I'm distracting myself with all kinds of stuff. I'm not saying to let it go and like, oh yeah, for sure, I live in like with unicorns and rainbows, right? Like everything's gonna be great. I don't have to do anything.
You wish, but unfortunately, it's not like that.
Right. So what I'm saying is catch yourself, because that's the problem. Most people will say, oh, I'm too lazy, whatever, I'm just gonna let it slide. No, don't let yourself off the hook. I'm saying really take root. Why am I still doing this? Why am I like after, I don't know, 5 years still in the same loop of like being lazy?
Yeah. So again, the use of the word lazy is applicable in that sense then.
Yeah, or avoidance, or I don't know.
Because you see, that's the thing, not to cut you, sister, but like that's really where my problem is, that we came to a point where this generation or these new ways of doing things is so like, you have to be mindful of so many things. You can't say this, you can't say that. It's just, it became so politically correct and so like monitored that there's just no room for just being natural. Now, unfortunately, some people, and then people would actually weaponize that and say, well, that's you using your privilege as, okay, for example, as a man, that's you using your privilege as a man and trying to, make somebody feel less or whatever, or this, now the toxic masculinity, but there's also toxic femininity. There's just so many antagonism going on. And then I guess at that point, I understand what you're saying, but then how come, for example, as you just said earlier, okay, addressing the matter of you not really doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? For example, I give you a perfect example. Today I had to, as I'm in the midst of doing my album, I had to do a remix for a very good friend of mine, Mzili Kazi, Africa in South Africa, long-time friend. He was like, look, I need you to please do this remix for me, brother. So I was like, look, I ain't got time, but because it's you, I'm just going to make it fit. So I just did it in 5 hours. But I understand that had I not been really setting before that whole sequence, a set of actions and a set of thoughts that would really configure my system to be like, okay, well, within the next 5 hours, you have got to be focused on this and complete this task. I understand that if I had not done that, and I didn't kind of train this animal inside me, I guess I wouldn't be focused. But there's a tendency then to I guess be in touch with. Is it connected to your instinct? Is it you sort of like controlling it? Is it connected to instinct? Is it instinctive, or what would you call this? Is it rigor? I mean,
okay. Okay. So let's really, okay. So instinct number one comes from, okay, if you're let's say quasi-spiritual, okay? So there's chakras, which are the nervous plexuses, which are the like agglomeration of all the nerves together. They create a center, and those are your chakras. And chakras are within the body. They're aligned through the spine, okay? And so each chakra has its own power, let's say, right? Its own energy that it puts out. So the intuition is right here in your third eye, right? So it's your sixth chakra in your body. So this is where you get flash ideas. You're like, oh my God, I gotta go. This is gonna sound amazing on my record, you know, and I'm gonna go do it right now. And even if it's 3:00 in the morning, you're like, oh my God, I'm on fire. Let me go do it. Right? So you run down, you go, and you get inspired. Right? So it's also your place where you can sense danger. Sometimes it also can come from here, or it can come from different parts of your body. Any ideas, anything that's really like, wow, I never even thought about that. You know, usually people get that in the shower, let's say, right? In the shower.
Yeah, that's true. I have a lot of this during the shower. Yeah, it's true.
When they're maybe washing the dishes, doing like menial type tasks, jogging, you know, doing something very repetitive, it'll come to you, right? So this is your intuition. Your intuition, some people will say, is like, comes to you from source, comes to you from, that source could be whatever you believe in, God, Buddha, universal energies, whatever you want, right? So this is your intuition. You're getting this from like an outside of yourself that is just something that is so powerful and comes into you, and you're like, wow, amazing. Now, it's only going to really work for you if you're grounded. If you're not grounded in your body, the idea or the intuition will stay as an intuition. It will not formulate itself as actually an idea or something that will come through for you that you will follow through. So you can have as many ideas and as much intuition as you want, but if you're not grounded in your body, then you're going to be lazy. You're going to be like this. You're going to be like, oh, later. You're going to be whatever, right? Oh, that idea is great, but I don't have the energy to follow through with it. So I don't remember your first question now. I'm just trying to line this up for everyone.
No, but you're definitely, you're hitting it on the nail, because it's really in line with what I was asking. Because, I mean, it was a long question / statement, I would say, but to then echo what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but so I just wrote, so in paraphrasing what you just said, if I understand well, because I'm referring to the act of doing the dishes or ironing clothes or taking a shower, which is something inherent to your system. You know how to do it even without thinking, right? So
yes.
Does it mean that in order for your intuition and for your instincts to be stimulated, you have got to be disconnected from matter?
I would say when you're very focused at task, any kind of task at all, writing that paper, finishing that record, doing like really like head on, really into it, you're only focused on this. So there is no ability for intuition to come because you have to finish what you're doing. As soon as you detach from like intense focus, my understanding then is like, you're just like, oh, wow, you know, I'm enjoying my shower. I really feel good, you know, and then just the sound of the water, what it's doing to your body, or like, just like, you know, not even thinking about it. That's when the ideas come, you know, and that's where people, I think, sometimes get a little confused of like, I'm so busy. I'm so, you know, being busy doesn't mean that you're effective. I'm so focused, task at hand. Oh my God, I just worked 40 hours straight. Like they're wearing it like a badge. Like I am such a hard worker, right? But I'll be like, okay, I'll ask my clients. I'm like, okay, that's great. You must be really tired, but do you have any space in there where you're actually leaving room to daydream? Do you allow yourself to be like, walk outside and notice the butterfly and see the flower, or see the kid smiling at you playing ball or whatever? Like, do you actually take time in your day so that you then really can allow for these things to come into your body and your mind? Like, do you not find that? Do you not find that people really want to, they want to tell people like, wow, I suffered so much. I worked so hard, and like, look at me. And then you're like, yeah, but dude, are you actually living? Like, do you actually enjoy yourself? Like, where are you at?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest disease we have right now, acknowledging where you are right now and what it is that you're doing.
Like you saying today that you work for 5 hours on something. That's a task at hand. You were very focused. You did that. Okay.
Yeah.
But imagine you tried to sustain that for like 12 hours a day.
Mhm.
Like at the end of like 4 days, you'd be like fried. Oh my God. Or 5 days. I don't know how much stamina you have inside of you, right? To get it done. Your mind is very strong. It'll really help you get there. But then when at some point you got to just be like, oh my God, I need to go to bed, or I need to relax. I need to go outside for a walk. Like, where do you fit in space to be allowing yourself to feel that instinct and those ideas? Like, where do you have to have time for that creativity?
We already have some comments. First of all, let me greet all the Bodhists and all the MQT aficionados. Thank you for always checking out. Please make sure you donate to this show via the super chats here on YouTube or PayPal or Revolut. We also take cryptos. Make sure you go follow Karla. I have put our website in the description of this live below. Brother Tony LeBron, legendary DJ, New York representing. What's up, brother? How you doing? Brother Tony is saying that, well, I guess he means connecting to not being able to acknowledge where you are right now could be because you're living in the past. Would you say that it has to do with it, or would you say that it's just because, again, or added to that, you're being again distracted by the madness that's going on a daily basis, on a regular basis?
Okay, so that's a loaded question. So first of all,
it's a loaded question, I know.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. And yes, don't forget to help out my brother here. I love him so much, and the show.
And show some love to Sister Karla. Very important.
We all need to work with each other and support each other with love, and if you've got the finances, then you know what to do. But in regards to Tony's question, like, okay, first of all, we need to be super present. And that's one of the hardest things to do, right? Because I'll tell you why. This is really, really important for a lot of people to understand. If we're not living in the present, like if we're not able to recognize when we go outside that, wow, it is actually beautiful outside. Or when you're on a phone call with somebody, you're like, wow, this person is really caring for me, or whatever, right? When you're be in the moment and really like check your surroundings and check yourself, how you feel. How we know we're not in the present is that we react. So this means right away, if you react like this, everything is like, oh, reaction. That means you're living in the past. Automatically, right? So that means there's something in the past. Okay, let me tell you. Let me say it this way. From ages 0 to 7, and let's be generous, we'll say 12. Okay, from 0 to 12, we are formulating ourselves and how we exist in this world. So we're complete sponges, right? We see our parents or whoever is raising us, our environment. What is everything that we're intaking? We're taking it all in, and then we're really establishing ourselves within the confines of our world, and that creates us.
Yeah.
Okay. So this, let's call it a record. Let's call it a record, right? The record keeps playing. It keeps playing and it keeps playing. We actually, until you become conscious of your reactions, if you don't do that, you're still living from your programming from 0 to 7 or 0 to 12. So that means when you're 40 years old, if you're reacting to something like this, automatically, you're still living from your programming from the past.
But how do you know that? How do you even tap into like? Okay, I get it. But okay, continue now. I'll ask you the other question. Sorry.
Yeah, no. So I was just gonna say, like, if you don't really like how you're responding to things, or you don't really like how you feel inside, maybe you feel like there's an obstacle, you can't overcome something, you're maybe stuck in a loop. These are your old programming. So our mind, scientifically proven, works at, our conscious mind is 5%, works 5% throughout the day. The rest, 95%, Boddhi, is a subconscious mind.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So that means 95% of the way we live is how we grew up when we were little. So
okay. Yeah. I can wrap my head around that. I agree. But then that's also dismissing your experience as an adult, or are they all connected to your youth?
So, okay. So when you not only, but let's just say I'm making this super basic, right?
Yeah,
if I say to you, oh, you're stupid, right? And you're really still attached to that because maybe when you were younger, your parents said that to you all the time, right? You're not going to give me a second. You're going to be like, but what the heck are you, you're going to come at me because you're now hurt from when you were 7 years old, 6 years old, 5 years old, 4 years old, right? And I'm going to be like, oh my God, what's his problem? I just, I know it's not nice to say, but he came at me full force. Why? It's your program. So until you're able to see yourself and say, okay, you know what? Whoever in my life told me I was like this, I know now, you're 38, I'm 50 this year. And if I look at myself and say, I'm not stupid. I consciously know I'm not stupid, but subconsciously, if I don't clear that and go back and really look at what the scenario was around my life and why my parents were saying that to me or whoever was saying that to me, I'm going to still continue living that reaction. I could be 7 years old. Someone's going to tell me I'm stupid. I'm going to react the same way. So you have to be really conscious of what you're doing and fix that and let it go, right? Forgive yourself for maybe not having noticed that. Forgive your family, forgive whatever, so that you can just, let it go. Let it go. And then
forgiving is not easy though, for a lot of people.
Well, forgiving is not necessarily for the other person, right? Forgiving is more for you. It's more to free you.
Yes, indeed.
It's more to free you. Because let's say the same example. I know it's not a great example. I should use something else because I just don't even like saying those things. But let's say it's the same example, right? And now you're 70 years old, and then someone says it to you again, and you're like, wait a second, why have I always been doing this? And then you realize, you look back at your life, and you're like, oh my God, I really was not a nice, kind person. And they were maybe just joking when they said it, or they were flippant and they didn't react. Then I'm going to be like angry at myself for having been in the same situation, placing myself in the same situation for over 65 years? That's where the forgiveness comes, because then you have to forgive yourself for like, okay, I didn't know. I didn't know I could heal myself from that. I didn't know that I could move forward from that. So that's living in the present. When you then recognize that you have been acting a certain way, you no longer want to act in the same way, you check yourself, you go back, okay, man, my parents are now dead. My whatever is gone. I'm 70 years old. I'm not a little kid anymore. That's being in the present. And then you can change your record. And then you put in a new record that says, I'm beautiful, I'm intelligent, I'm powerful, I'm all these other things, right? Hope I answered your question. Tony, that was pretty long.
Yeah, Tony said that is the work. Yeah, he agreed. Hans Bergman said, relevant and interesting chat. Thank you very much, Hans, and everyone else tuning in right now. Thank you. I understand everything that you've said. But, okay, I get the whole childhood programming thingy going on. That really is what is the basis for how you're going to be taking certain experiences in your life, right? But how about your experiences as an adult and some very painful experiences, such as abusive partner in a relationship, or being homeless, or whatnot. How are you able to forgive, accept, and deprogram those without deprogramming the 7-year-old version of you that was programmed initially? or you need to first do that work in order for you to be able to pursue on the other on trying to overcome the other things?
Yeah, that's your foundation. That's your foundation, right? Your foundation, you gotta really assess your foundation. I'll give you an example. I'll give you my own example, okay? So I was like 9 years old. My parents, my father was like, you know, in Spanish you say mujeriego. He had lots of girlfriends. He was all over the place. And my mom just like, you know, immigrant from South America, from Colombia, couldn't speak English or French, taking care of 2 children while my dad was doing his stuff, right? So, and also, you know, he was supporting the family, right? So he was, she's got nobody here but us, but my brother and myself. My dad decides he's going to go back to Colombia to create something better for us, but he leaves, and at the airport, I have this instinct inside of me. I'm like, this is kind of fishy. I don't really buy it. And so I told my dad, I looked at him straight in the eye, and I told him in Spanish, I said, you know, Daddy, I'm going to give you, I had this little baby blanket that I still had, and I gave it to him, and I said, Daddy, I'm going to give it to you, but only if you promise to give it back to me when you come back. He looked me straight in the eye, Boddhi, and he said, of course, baby, I'm going to give it back to you. But I knew he was lying. I knew he was lying, okay? I'm 9 years old. What happens after that? What happens after that? Unbeknownst to me, right? I go into I'm growing up, teenager, you know, first boyfriend, second boyfriend, whatever. I get serious. Bang, in the face. I start to see things repeating itself. I actually don't even see that first. First, I see myself like sabotaging my relationship. Why am I sabotaging my relationships? Why am I so angry? Why am I pushing this person away to see if they're gonna come back? Why am I doing that?
I understand what you mean now. Okay, I get it.
What I'm saying? So
yeah, damn, that's a deep programming for sure. You're right.
Yeah, right. So
because as you said that, it resonated with, I'm like, damn, you're right, actually.
And I'm not ashamed to share my story, because I think there's a lot of people out there that have abandonment issues.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And for sure, like, I can safely say that I didn't really even catch myself, even through my first, second, third boyfriend, whatever. You know, I have 2 beautiful children, 2 beautiful children, two 10-year relationships. And I then saw in my second relationship, I saw my pattern happening. And I'm like, oh my God, I did it again. How did I do this again? Why am I doing this again? So that's the deep programming, right? That's the past.
But hold on, would you say that, sorry, but would you then say that, is it something that you could, because if you go by the idea, how did I manage to do this to myself again? It means that you either had an idea that it would be repeating itself, but you refused to pay attention to the signs, or it just so happens that, well, you couldn't know, but then things happen in life. Is it then, to simplify the question, something because you've been programmed, or you programmed yourself, well, your trauma programmed you in a way that from now on, anything that is coming your way is a magnet, polarized in a way that it will attract anything that connects to what happened to you in the past. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. So I'll say to you, right? I end up picking men that are similar to my father until I woke up and I was like, what am I doing? And so that by that time I was like 36 years old, 2 kids under my belt, and saying like, what? This is not my idea of how I would perceive a couple or a family, right, to be. So I decided to then, start working on myself. And then, in both cases, but okay, get this, in both cases, actually in all my relationships, up until I would say, up until a couple of years ago, I was the one exiting, right? I was the dumper. I was never the dumpee.
Interesting.
So that being because no one's leaving me again, right?
Yeah, you that's the little parcel of control you have built on your past trauma, where it's like, I got this. I get it. I
Well,
understand.
also because I'm gonna try, okay, because that happened to me when I was 9. I'm gonna try the hardest ever to never feel those feelings again.
But by
That's
trying not to ever feel these feelings again, you actually bring the complete opposite. You actually bring in the same experience over and over again, which I can totally relate to, and I think many can if they are conscious and honest enough. Um, right before we jump into the other aspect of the conversation, Tony just added very interesting points, quite long actually. Tony LeBron said, "You on Facebook, you can become physically ill when your body subconsciously recognizes an indicator or trigger of a past trauma stored deep in memory, even though consciously you were not exposed
to the knowledge. Yeah,
anything like
totally. Uh-oh.
um, uh, anxiety, panic attacks, mood swings, because these subconscious triggers cause chemical releases in the brain and body that have an ill effect on a person physically. Yeah, I mean, but then this goes into then um, understanding. So okay, once you understood that, all right, I have got to heal that 9 years old version of me, that 7 years old version of me. Um, it's interesting because I also I think I think I can relate to not to being abandoned, but to when I was a kid, because there was a phase where I was really really chubby, and I think I was made fun of a lot. Well, not I think I was made fun a lot,
Mhm.
and I've always been saying that because I was chubby, I was good for. Um,
You were what? You cut out for a second.
because I was chubby and I was a
Yes.
fat little kid. I
Yes.
was not. I was good for nothing. I had no value.
Right. Okay,
Um,
that's interesting.
and it's interesting because I mean, by the time I was probably like 9 or so, around the same time age as you were. Um, but by the time I got to my 20th anniversary or something, I'm at peace. I mean, I was like, yeah, I'm a good looking guy. I'm never gonna be like this guy, like that guy, like who I am. I am me, and that is good enough. And f whoever thinks otherwise, because that's what I think I am worth, and I'm worth, the best, whatever, whatever. I was starting to like pump myself up, and sort of like suggest to myself things that were tapping into my subconscious mind. But what I would say was the true blessing in this soul searching and finding myself very early on were two sets of readings that I had personally as I was stumbled upon. One book when I was at the age of 16 years old, actually 15 years old. It was a book by the late Shogyan Trungpa Rinpoche.
Okay.
Man, this guy, him and Jiddu Krishna, you have got to check his conversation with Jiddu Krishnamurti on YouTube. It's some of the most next level, most brilliant minds chopping it up together and just literally sparring intellectually on a level that's just amazing. But you've got to be a little bit, intellectually inclined, I would say, to really perceive all the details and the really really fine details of what they're talking about. And that book really changed my life because the book was called Crazy Wisdom.
Hmm. Where's the author from? Where is he from?
Nepal, I believe. Nepal. He
Oh,
passed
right.
away. He was very known. He was very, very known in the US. And Shogyan Trungpa Rinpoche. And the other book that I read when I was around I think it was 18 or 19. um, The Infinite Power of the Subconscious Mind, I believe, by the Dr. Edgar Murphy or something like that. Whoa. I was really, really blessed because to just be inclined to reading this kind of books, because early on I was able to understand the necessity to really heal, or try to heal the best I could, that inner child, and really, better yet, I didn't understand the concept of healing. I understood the concept of auto suggestion and speaking to your subconscious
So
mind.
good. So good.
So I remember I used to speak about, when I was having interviews, I said, everything that happened to me in my career, or at least most of the things that happened to me in my career, were things that are programmed already. So I was not surprised by none of the things that happened to me. Actually, it sounds a bit cocky, but it's true. I wanted everything that happened. Like I had envisioned it. I had envisioned myself working, with everyone and beyond. That and those people that I worked with, the levels that I managed to reach were things that I envisioned already when I was 18 years old.
Amazing.
But along the way, I forgot how to continue working on this auto self-suggestion and self-programming of the subconscious mind, and you get carried away by new traumas, new experiences that add to a sense of hopelessness or hopelessness. I don't know how you say that, but you feel
Hopelessness.
me?
Yes.
Hopelessness, which really is a lie told to yourself, because you truly are in command. But that's when you forget about yourself and you tend to see that the solution is outside of you.
Right. Okay,
Yeah, that's a long statement, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, just to get back to Tony, right? Because I wrote this down because I wanted to remember to
Please.
to just go back to his point about, like, situations, right? So let's think about this on a physiological level, right? Think about this. Every time, unless you've healed yourself, okay, every time you recount some traumatic story of your life, okay, and you actually feel it, like you're there, and you remember so well, you see it visually, you can see the image, it's clear to you, crystal clear, you know what you're wearing, you see the environment, you see everything, and you're recounting this trauma, your whole body, even to your cells, changes from being in a place of like openness and vibration and clair and loving, to a place of like fear and anxiety and stress.
Absolutely.
So every time you recount that story, or every time you remember it so clearly, if you haven't healed it, you're actually going back to that time, because the subconscious mind can't tell time. It's not linear.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
It will think that it's happening again.
Yeah.
It's happening again, or you're in the situation presently, which reminds it that that's your present life. So whatever you're thinking, whatever you're saying, is the message that you're putting out into the infinite quantum field, which is limitless possibilities, right? That's your mind is electric. The words and thoughts are all going out that way, and you're radiating it back. You're magnetically drawing it back to your body, where it now becomes your physical reality. That's why that's how they say, like, you're manifesting. You can actually manifest your life, right?
Yeah.
The way that you think today, the things that you're doing today, how you're living your life today is years past of how you've been thinking years past. What you believe about yourself, your self-worth, your value, your intrinsic self-esteem.
Yeah.
These like 5, 10, 15, 20 years of thinking one way, like what I was caught up in was like, oh, my own dad didn't come back for me. Like, where's my self-worth? What am I like, what do I have to offer, right?
Yeah, you define yourself based on that trauma.
Totally. So if you don't take the time to like heal that, you're consistently living in the same way. So your intuition Your ability to be intuitive is not at its greatest and best, right? Your instinct is like, I'm protecting myself. I'm always protecting myself against every single person or every single situation or everybody that comes in here that kind of remotely reminds me of my dad leaving me. Any boyfriend, oh my God, like I got to protect myself and I have to act in a certain way. And wait, let me test him while I'm at it. Let me make sure, okay, let's get a fight now. So I'm going to see how he's going to react. Is he going to come back? And you don't even know you're doing it until you realize you're doing it.
Wow. So in order for you to be able to trust your instincts, you have got to clear your programming.
Otherwise, you're always living on guard, right? Like my 9-year-old was living like inside of me on guard. It's like, okay, no. Oh yeah, cute guy. Okay, yes, no, maybe. Okay, no, let's test him. Okay, no, that's not gonna work. Leave. This one, okay, leave. This one, okay, leave. Like my 9-year-old is in charge of my life. That's a little ridiculous. I'm 36 years old. My 9-year-old is in full force. It's like no freaking way.
Okay. All right. I get it. Now, your 9-year-old would not be capable of having the complex kind of thoughts you have developed through the years, right? So is it so much that is it really that your 9-year-old is in charge, or is it just that there is an imprint of that trauma that's just there that really isn't just because I will give you that example as a grown man when I was 20, 26, 27, 28, 20, around 27. My parents physically separated. My father, had some affairs, and it was traumatic. Because I had never been raised by, seeing my father doing anything like that. And he was so adamant on being, a righteous man, and, you should never do this, giving me the basic and really giving me the tools to be a good man. Right. And
being the example.
Of being the example. Right. But then when my actually source of my reference of values and my go-to sort of like point of inspiration displayed to me his weakness as a human, I was not disappointed. I was devastated because I just didn't know anymore. And I'm 27 at the time, so I'm like, whoa, I would just have never imagined. But then I was not, obviously I didn't hate my father, but I was disappointed at the fact that he didn't come through with it in an honest way. But however, I've had the chance to really, clean the dirty clothes with him. My father was a very charismatic man, and he was not the kind of dad that you come to and be frontal with, because it's just not going to go the way you think. It was not necessarily, it's not a question of being violent. He was just very, very, he had a serious authority about him that just never give me, and I would have, not even that I wanted, but I didn't even think of even trying to, act up. I would come to him correct, right? Let's just put it this way. And so when I addressed the situation with him, when it was time for me to actually face him as a man with another man, a son to his father, he said something to me that's actually, you're very right. Yeah. I cowardly, I was not able to see myself, given that I'd given you all of these sets and rules and things that you needed to apply to your life. But do not judge me, because the errors and the trials and tribulations you will go through as a man yourself will lead you to understand that whether you be a woman or a man, certain things don't always go and roll out as you plan. So is it, and again, some people will say, well, this has everything to do with it. And because I know a lot of people are very adamant on saying that this is all about the child in you. But then I think that's also too easy to blame it on the child in you, because the child in you don't necessarily, I mean, you don't necessarily have all these elaborated kind of concepts and ideas about, relationships and stuff. So I really think that this impact, this trauma affected my relationship with women afterwards, right? I started to believe that, you know what? Well, I started to tell myself, well, shit, yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, yeah, I'm an attractive guy. Yeah, how about I have fun, and just do my thing. Until I actually had my own, realizations a couple of years down the line.
Mhm.
As you get close to your 40s, you're like, let me really think about what the fuck I'm doing, really. Like, that ain't making no fucking sense. It was nice, it's fun, but it's not adding anything to my life or to anyone else's life. So let me just get it together. And I think that can also tap into some of your childhood pains. But I really think that, you see, before we started the live, you mentioned something about, when you're meeting a psychologist, you're able to hide certain information from them if they're not really sharp. And I think a lot of people have a tendency to hide themselves behind, whenever they're given an exit door, they'll automatically take that opportunity, but always tell you, no, but of course, I mean, shit, this happened to me, so of course it's got to be that. And I think there's a sense of like hiding yourself behind, well, it's not my fault, falling victim of. Yeah.
Right. So I can say a couple of things to that, right? So let's say,
go ahead, let's go.
Let's say your dad, he never fell from grace, right? Fell from grace, quote unquote, right? And he was that shining example of a human being for you. That wouldn't give you the opening that you're looking for, or not looking for, but that wouldn't give you the opening to then be like, oh yeah, I can fool around. I can do all these things. I don't have to be so upstanding. I don't have to be like this. I don't have to be like my dad. But because your dad is a human being, and because we as children of our parents hold our parents up to like this incredible level of like, they're amazing and they're like, never can do anything wrong until they do. And then we grow up saying, oh my God, that's the human experience. So we start to learn what that really actually means, right? So until that time, like, I'm pretty sure that you set yourself up this incredible standard. Okay, where's my pen? Not here, but you set your standard up here because your dad was up here. So when your dad was like, I'm a human being and I'm down here, right? You're like, oh shit, that's time to play. Time to live my life and time to see who, like, whatever.
What's happening?
Right. Hello. I'm like, whoa.
I'm in the building. Where the ladies at?
Party time. I don't think that's actually a bad thing. I don't think that's actually a bad thing, actually, to be honest. Because
it's experience. Because I didn't have, so you see, what I experienced in my 30s, I didn't experience them in my 20s because I was just too busy working and too busy, trying to really achieve. You feel me? That you know what I mean? Yeah, you're right. That's standard. You're right. Yeah, and there was this standard of excellence indeed, and I really appreciate both my parents, my mother and my father, for setting up a standard of excellence, because I even had more to prove because I had stopped my studies. I stopped, before even I passed my high school. So I really had to really like get twice as hard at work to show them that this music thing that I decided to do, I'm going to succeed at it. You will see. And here we are 20 years later. And like, when my father was on his bed, before he passed away, he told me, he said, and I didn't know actually he was not gonna make it. But he said, my son, I could not be prouder as a dad of the man you've become, because you stood for yourself. Absolutely. And you've proved me that you were beyond what I had thought you would become. You became yourself, and I never want you to stop making music, because this is your true calling. Anything else will be a side gig, but this is your true calling, and I want you to continue doing that. Yeah. So
what a blessing.
Yeah.
So this is something that's in Ayurveda that I was taught many, many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're conceived, right, you have a little bit of your mom, a little bit of your dad,
Mm-hmm.
and then, the universe conspires to create you, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
one way of looking at it. I have a totally different version as well that goes to that. That's really out there, woo woo. But let's just
Mm-hmm.
stick to this one, right?
No, but it's fine. There's no, please, like, look, I speak about extraterrestrials here on my show, so we can speak about pretty much anything and everything. Come on, it's, there's
Okay,
no
well,
limitations.
I don't know your crowd, right? So
No. If they don't like it, they don't have to watch it. It's all good, because I'm very open-minded and we can speak about pretty much everything.
okay, so basically the deal is that you basically have these agreements. You already set yourself up. Who are going to be your parents? Who's your siblings? And you come down here already with a plan of what you're supposed to learn, right?
Yeah, I can
Okay,
do that.
but still, when you're about to be born, you still have a little bit of your mom and a little bit of your dad and yourself, your own fire, your own thing, right? So the whole idea is that you, as you get older, you start to shed your mother and shed your father, and you become your own person.
Mm.
This is often the problem for many people, is that they can never really release mom or dad inside their head.
Mm-hmm.
They get like in a place of flux, like, oh my God, what will my mother say? What will my father do? And so it becomes really hard for them. And this is actually a really prevalent issue. I mean, not so much for you because you had the courage and your father was really behind you for many years. But there's like my dad, like he just fucking bounced, right? And so I would be like, okay, well, forget him. But my mother was like, this is like, she took charge. She's like a Colombian mother who was like fierce, and she became this huge powerhouse, and she really, like, with very little education, became very, very extremely like well-traveled and all kinds of stuff, great in business, right? And she didn't even know it. She found herself because of the situation with my father. So that was a blessing. But we really need to be able, so I always had my mother's voice in my head for many, many years, where I'm like, oh my God, my mother, what is she going to say, right? Which is like ridiculous, because you have to really walk your own walk, and you're the only one who's in charge of your own happiness. You have to be responsible for yourself, right? So this is oftentimes a story that many people can't get over. And so with your dad having, been a human and tried different things, and that was maybe your exit door to now become free to experiment and to try and to like live your life and really challenge yourself on different ways that maybe you wouldn't have done if he hadn't done that.
Certainly.
I see that as a gift. I think that's a gift for you until it's no longer a gift, until you realize, hey, wait a second, what the heck am I doing now? And then that's when you have to start to live in the present and be like, okay, I can't do that shit anymore. Like, now I'm a grown man.
Exactly. There's a point. It's like, that was funny, but it's fine. Let's just move on to some other things. But to the point you're making, I think everybody's different, right? For example,
of course.
In my case, because my father, at least in appearance, didn't believe in what I was doing. I was totally against me doing the music thing. Well, again, in appearance, because he supposedly quickly figured that I was really good at what I was doing. But, as African dads or Latino dads or, any dads from the South, they have this tendency of keeping that straight face, and it's like, okay, let's see. Which I think is important to a certain extent. He was encouraging when it was time to be encouraging, but it was not like all the time, a little tap in the back. No, it was this tough love, but not destroying kind of tough love. It was empowering,
that's so important.
Challenging. Because there's a lot of people, right? For example, and I find that to be the case even now at my age, and with all the things that I've accomplished, there's people that I have around me that pretend to have tough love for you, but they actually bringing down your character as a person and narrowing you down to really somebody who's just nothing, pretty much, because they can't quantify what it is that you're doing. How many times have I not said that, for example, for a lot of people, what this shows that I'm doing is like, what are you even doing? Like, I'm hearing all sorts of, people comments, he should stop doing this thing. It's a waste of time. Like, for who? For you, maybe, but not for me. Because look at the beautiful conversations we're having. And I think that for me, I've never taken any bad comments as a source of as an excuse to not be motivated. Whenever I hear something negative, I get even more excited to just persisting, because it's always paid off. It always paid off, you know.
But okay, so then we can go back now to instinct. Then wrap this all the way around back
Yes,
to instinct, right?
exactly. It
Okay.
does.
So where does your for you your instinct is instigated on having the pushback. Like you're getting a pushback,
pretty
and now
much.
you're saying like, oh, wait a second, I don't like that, and I don't like that because I now really know inside of me that I can do it, and I'm gonna prove this person wrong. The difference here, the dangerous part here is: are you proving yourself because that's who you really are, or are you proving yourself because you just want to prove that person wrong?
That's a great question. And before I answer that, let me welcome my good brother Keisha, who just joined the show all the way from YouTube here, because we are broadcasting on both my YouTube channel and my Facebook channel. So please make sure you follow the good sister Karla. I have a website in the description section right below this video. Make sure you go check her out on Instagram as well. She's everywhere. And if you are in Northern America, Canada, for example, you definitely want to be reaching out for her services, because I guarantee you, I'm not even trying to, fake it. It's been a real beautiful experience, and thank you, sister, for honoring me with your presence and giving us your gifts. Because I think that at the end of the day, anyone who's willing to, give their life to service of others and really helping others find their own ways of healing and their own path through alternative means is somebody that needs to be commended, and especially when it comes from the heart, such as yourself. We shall do that indeed. So, to answer your question, is it me trying to prove them wrong, or is it just that it's part of who I am? I think it's a bit of both, but intrinsically it's part of who I am. I've always been a guy that takes the longer road to success. Like this whole shortcuts thing, I've known, and actually I've learned that from many things taught me that, but one particular experience taught me that. When I was playing basketball in Central African Republic, there was this coach. Man, I'm Checo. Checo, no, man, this guy. He was the funniest guy. He had the filthiest mouth you could ever think of. He would cuss the shit out of your ass. You'd be like, oh my God. But this coach was, and it was a drunk. It was a serious drunk. He had an issue with the bottle. But when this man was getting on the court, oh man, there was just no way you could not. I mean, you had to succeed. And he had this thing where it was like, if you try to shortcut all these exercises that we're doing, you're not going to be the player that you want to be.
Right.
I need you to go through these painful moments. I need you to be pushed to your limits with guys much bigger, more stronger than you, messing you up physically, in order for you to be prepared for the next big thing. And I think that it really became something that was part of me, where it's like, I understand that growth comes through pain. And as much as we enjoy comfort, but the process of achieving the comfort is really something that is exciting for me. So yeah, it's intrinsically in me, but it's also proving them wrong, because it's funny to prove people wrong when you know you can do it.
That's so funny. But I just want to address it. Sometimes even like I see pain not necessarily as pain, right? Like I see pain as like a tool for growth, like you're saying. But even the word pain is like, I feel is not even right. It's almost like, we have our ego, right? And our ego will a lot of people think the ego is so terrible, and it's like, oh my God, my ego's out of control. But actually, if we really look at the ego properly, we can be super grateful for the ego showing us our ugly side or ego side, right? Like everyone's like, oh my God, he has this big ego. But if you really check yourself and be like, actually, the ego is bringing up that information for me to look at it. And then I can say, oh my God, why am I doing that? it's actually your ally. So
Yes.
until you can, like firmly identify what your ego is or how you feel, otherwise you're just going to be running with the program, and your ego is going to be like ruling the game as well, right? So you can use that ego and use it really to show you, where you can become a better person, or just look at it and be like, wow, that's really ugly, or I don't really like that about myself,
Okay.
and then change it.
How do you, so then, because a lot of people, so you see, the ego is always used and it's weaponized, right? In so many cases, oh, your ego
Yeah.
is getting in the way. And it's like, no, I wasn't being egotistical. And it's almost like you have to dim your light in order for others to be satisfied with you. Sorry. You have to dim because this is the thing. What is the ego, and how do you even make it function? My dog she's like, how do you make it work for you in a way, as you just mentioned, that is positive?
Okay, so I think the ego, there's two sides of the ego, right? So the ego, there's like the really beautiful aspect of you where you're really like, wow, like I'm amazing, right? I'm amazing, because maybe you are really amazing at what you're doing. And then there's the other part of you that's really like, you're coming off as a selfish person, or you're coming off as someone who's really like full of themselves and doesn't really give a shit about anyone else. So that's, like, I would say, the lower version of the ego, right? And so we need both. We need both of those things to be functioning. But the lower version of you, right, that ego that isn't really in your highest and best, this is the one that you got to turn around and be like, you actually have to face yourself and be like, oh my God, ego, thank you for showing me how rude and how full of myself I really am. And then you can use that ego to help yourself like elevate, because then you got to take stock. Then you got to take stock of yourself, and then you got to really say, do I really want to still be that person? Like, is that really who I am? Is that how really people see me all the time? Like, it can be very shocking, and that all could be like imposter syndrome. That could be like all kinds of things where people are then like thinking you're someone, but really you're not. So what are you doing with yourself? And where does your instinct come in there? Like, how does that even function? What do you think?
I can dig that. I agree with you. I think it's very true. But it's also interesting how, for example, you just mentioned about imposter syndrome. There's so many artists that suffer from that syndrome indeed. And it's like, they're so great. They actually are super talented. So it's not like they're trying to be something that they're not. They're not faking it. They really are talented. But then there's this part of themselves, I guess, that ego, about that negative ego is really dragging them super, super, super low, on the lowest levels of vibrations you can think of. And it's like they start sabotaging themselves and sabotaging opportunities, and really and then they start blaming others for it.
That's insecurity. That becomes insecurity.
And in that go ahead.
If you're very like, know yourself and know that, wait a second, I'm actually really horrible at I don't know, being in the limelight, but I create beautiful music. You're maybe going to sabotage yourself so that you're not in the limelight. And so then, I don't know. I mean, that's a bad example, but what I'm trying to say at the end of the day is like, when someone comes off as being really like quote unquote egotistical, let's say, and selfish and full of themselves, if you take away all those labels, you're going to find a really insecure person who has now created for themselves this alter ego of like superficiality. That's usually the case. I mean, that's
It's
like
true.
a really.
It's actually true, because and this is the thing, because the human mind is so intricately designed and perfectly designed that you're able to fake your way through and through, and always manage to come out of the situation victorious if you're able to keep that mask long enough.
Yes. But is it really truly then yours if you're faking it?
Yeah, because you're not victorious. You actually appear to be victorious until, all masks are off and you have to truly show your colors. And
Or you're discovered that you're an
or you're
imposter.
discovered.
And that's
But
the worst
even
thing.
is it the worst or is it actually a blessing? Because
No,
I
it's a
think that
work.
people I
Go
see
ahead,
people
sorry.
suffer from. See people actually. A lot of the time, people suffer from this construct they've built because again, it goes back to what you were saying. Programming from your past life as a child, or even as an adolescent, whatever the case may be, to now having built this whole thing about you, this whole persona about you that now people see and identify as it being you when it actually isn't you, right? So when I think it might be super painful, it can certainly be very, very painful. But if you are able to see the philosophical aspect of it, you can be humbled and actually be thankful for that experience, uh, having had manifested itself for you, right?
Absolutely. I could say that I went through a bit of that. I went through some imposter syndrome because I was like, you can't, I'm not going to be hurt. I'm gonna always be the one leaving. I'm the one out of here, and I'm gonna always bounce back on my feet. And let me just keep moving forward. And I'm never gonna show how badly I really feel, how sad I am really inside my soul. My soul, right? I don't feel. Nobody would ever guess. Nobody would have ever guessed. I don't feel worthy. My self-esteem is in the toilet. I don't really feel a strong person at all. People look at me. They would say, "Wow, you're so independent. You're so strong." But as soon as
Mm.
you get to know me on a deeper level, you'll be like, "Who is this girl? Like, why is she pretending to be so strong when she's not?"
But hold on, isn't it also okay? Because okay, all right, I can get pretending to be when you're actually not really that. But isn't that also how you get to toughen yourself up? Because not by pretending, but I'll give you an example, right? The first
Yeah.
time I had my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition, I will guarantee you, I did not feel ready at all.
Oh
I
my god.
felt like a freaking
Oh my
fraud.
gosh.
Before
Right.
continuar, Ceras Produções, DJ Satélites, como é que é, meu irmão? Tá tudo bem? Bem-vindo, seja bem-vindo ao vosso show Monday Quality Talks. Yes, indeed. Um, so that first competition, my mestre, my good brother, for five was like, bro, you ready? You good? I was like, nah, man, I don't know.
You know.
He's like, look, I would have not taken you in a competition where we have our pride and our dojo at play if I didn't know
Pressure.
you could do it.
The pressure.
And I was like, okay, if you trust me, because I know he's very demanding, then and he says, all you can do is just get on that fucking mat and just do what you've been taught. And if you don't succeed, it's fine, but just do you and do the
Right.
best you can. But don't already tell yourself that you're not going to succeed because
Exactly.
that's not the way to look at it. And I was like, okay, but deep inside, I did not feel capable. And yet I am this 6 foot, 100 and at the time I was 146 kilograms. I was this super heavyweight guy and very scary for some, not scary for others. But I'm this big guy you don't really want to mess with, right? And here I am deep inside, and I'm just not feeling like that big dude at all. Like I am really not. I see myself as this little boy who has to be with all these big dudes. And then, eventually, the fight starts, and the moment we just tap our hands and we get into it. That guy who actually faked. He was not a white belt at the time. I was a white belt. Was actually it was about to be a blue belt, so he had more experience than I had.
Mm-hmm.
I bring this guy and I slam him on the floor. I slam him on the floor. But I've never been the type of guy that I get excited. I was humbled. I was like, okay, I put him on the floor now. Now the work has to continue. So I do the work. The only thing that actually killed me in this fight was my cardio. I used, because of my stress, I used so much cardio at first that before I lost the fight on points. And not because he submitted me, but just because it was,
gotcha.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
But it was very interesting that this experience really showed me that, wow, I'm glad I faced my fear by actually showing up to my fear and telling myself, yeah, I can do it. When deep inside, just like you said, oh, you strong woman, this and that. And then your little voice is telling you, no, you're not. You know you're fraud.
Yeah.
You know you're fake. But
Totally.
fuck, who can actually? Because it's and this is where it's like this voice is so stupid because it's like, hold on, not many people can raise kids, take care of their men, take care of their family, and then take care of themselves. Not many people can do that. Being of service to your family and those you love is not something that everybody has the capacity to do. So how can you inflict on yourself these kind of ideas that you're not worthy or you're not capable? Like this is such a very unfortunate sort of like outlook on things, and I think that encouraging yourself to be something that you're not at first can actually truly show you your true character and your colors. So it can actually be a exposure of your weaknesses from which you can gain strength, or actually exposure of your strength from which you can get knowledge. I don't know, but I mean, yeah. What you think? What do you say?
So in terms of like myself feeling like I was an imposter at some point because I was like physically looking one way and people could see me as being really strong, but then deep inside of myself I felt like, wow, where's my self-worth? Because of what happened with my father, right? I didn't even really understand it. I didn't even know that it existed. It's like I didn't know what I didn't know, right? All I knew was that my father lied to me and that inside my 9-year-old is now standing on guard, but I didn't even know she was doing that until I was much older, when things started to recur again and again. So at that point, I met a friend of mine and my friend caught me in a lie. I can't even remember what the lie was. And he's like, you just lied about this thing. Why are you lying about that? I go, no, I didn't. Because I had to make myself indispensable and the best at whatever I was doing, because then that would mean that my partner would never leave me, right? I would make myself indispensable in their life so they can't live without me. That was my security. I would be the best at every single thing you could do, the best in the bedroom, the best in the kitchen, the best in the house, the best with the kids, the best with everything. Right?
Yeah, when that actually is impossible to achieve
where
anyway.
was I? Where was I? Where was I? Where was I? What was really what I want to do? Who am I? What do I really exist for? I'm not only a mother. I'm not only a partner or a wife. Who am I really? Am I really a 9-year-old standing on guard? No, I'm not. I'm so
Exactly.
many things, right? And so that's when my friend caught me in a lie, and then he caught me in another one, and another one. He's like, hold on a second, what the heck is happening here? I knew you when you were 16, and now you're 36, and I'm catching you at what? Oh my gosh. I got it handed to me, Boddhi. Handed to me. And I was like, oh my God.
But that was a relief, right? That was it was a shameful moment, I guess, but eventually looking further down.
Yes and no. In the beginning, I was like, oh shit, somebody's really actually seeing me. Now somebody's seeing me for real. And I'm like shitting in my pants because who am I? Like, who am I? I don't even know who I am. Right? Until many years later, I'm like, God bless my friend. You know, I was like so great. I'm gonna eternally grateful for that person who was sent to me by an angel to fix me, right? To set me on my path, to wake me up and be like, you can't function that way. You have too many things to offer. You're too much. We need you in a different capacity. We need you to be in your truth. You have to be in your authenticity. You have to be able to clear yourself so that you can get the intuition that you need to move forward in your life and be the healer and be this type of healer or this type of person, this type of mother. Forget about it, right? I was hiding behind my kids, hiding behind my partners, hiding behind, whatever I could find. I could hide behind you, Boddhi, seriously, until I really had to wake up and say to myself, okay, well, what, like who, in tears for forever looking at myself. And I tell this to my clients all the time, guys, really check yourself. Before you get into the shower, look yourself in the mirror, completely naked, and say to yourself, whatever your name might be. So I, Karla Gomez de la Peña, you look yourself straight in the eyeballs, right? Say, I totally love and accept and I trust myself the way that I am. Do you really think I could have done that? Do you think I could have looked in the mirror and done that to myself? Are you kidding me? First of all, you think, okay, this is crazy. Looking at myself, talking to myself in a mirror. I'm crazy,
That's
right?
actually not crazy, but I could understand some people might think.
You
I
know,
mean,
and checking to see the kids aren't coming in. Like I'm talking to myself, you know?
I
And
think
then
it's a very powerful thing to do.
it is
So
very
important.
powerful.
I've learned that super early on to talk to myself, and people want to ridicule that because they don't understand. It's always looked at as, here you go, trying to, like, dude, you don't fucking know what you're talking about. And look at yourself being where the fuck you are and look at me being where I am. It's like, there's just, not trying to say that I'm better than you, but in a way, I really don't want to be in your shoes because I've seen what it is to be in those shoes, and it's just not for me anymore. So yeah, let me just do my own little pep talk for myself. It's fine, because it's like, dude, but again, this is why people have there's a substitution for validation instead of intuition. So I would say that we cannot trust our instincts because intuitively we've substituted our capacities to really make decisions for ourselves because we substituted our instinctive capacities to make decisions for ourselves for validation of the others, of likes, or followers,
Sure.
or whatnot. You feel me? And I think a lot of people post things like I'll see so many people excited to rush into posting the latest trending thing online, whether it be whatever the case may be. Like, because nowadays you can't even say certain words because if you say that, it means like, oh, you're shaming that movement, you're shaming this. Like, nah, man, I'm just saying that not everybody is about that shit. They just want to sound cool. And I think that's where this is. People have lost touch with truly analyzing something for what it is instead of what is being told them, is being told to them about, right? It's like, well, this is what it is. Did you do your research? Did you actually look into that information before you actually came in and claimed it? So it's like, there's no more, I don't think that nowadays, especially in this era we're in right now, people being in so much denial of their feelings. I've seen people going through the thick and thins of this fucking pandemic coming out worse than they were even when they came inside of thing.
Oh my God, Boddhi. It's both ways, but I'm telling you, like, the amount of trauma this whole thing is going to be causing, PTSD for people, for children, like coming out on the other end, it's not pretty because now, we're made to be amongst other people. We're made to share. We're made to like touch each other and hug each other, and we're physical beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are having a physical experience. And so I'll give you an example, like a newborn baby. If that newborn baby isn't given affection, it's not going to live. It needs to have that touch, that sense of touch and that feeling in order to be able to move forward in their lives and feel loved, feel something. It's such 100%. A huge part of our existence. And it really, you either get empowered or you're disempowered. That's how it's rolling right now. And if you're disempowered, the only thing I can say to you is every morning when you wake up, even if you have your existence is you're not doing well, you need to find one thing that you can be grateful for about yourself. Mm-hmm. One thing, and it has to be about you. It can't be about, whatever. It can be, but primarily you have to be grateful for yourself, like for your voice, for your opinion, for what you hear. You're a good listener. If you can't find something, listen, I'm grateful for my hair. I'm grateful for my face. Whatever. You need
Start somewhere.
Start somewhere. You need to be grateful for one thing for yourself. This is what I always tell my people. Be grateful for anything that you have. A nice pair of kicks, awesome. Mm-hmm. You have a bed to sleep in at night. You slept the entire night. Whatever, right? Somebody gave
Gratitude.
You an apple. I don't know. And then the last thing is to be grateful for. So now is to think about the future. how do you see yourself in the future? What do you really want for yourself? What do you desire in your heart for yourself? Which is going back to how you already saw your life before it actually happened. And you knew you were going to be a producer and this and that. And you were going to be traveling and doing all these wonderful, amazing things, bringing people together.
I didn't know that was going to happen, but I did know how I wanted things to unfold. At least I did know some of the great lines. And then everything else kind of like fell, aligned itself. But yeah, I mean, sorry, not to, you're right. But then I would have to say, because that's exactly what a lot of people think. They're like, hey, but you already had it all figured out. No, but I knew what I wanted to achieve. And I knew that I was going to get there. Now, how things were going to line up or not or whatever, I had no control on that. I just had control on what I wanted to achieve. And the journey, then that's what it's going to be. But yeah, sorry.
So anyways, what I'm trying to explain is that whatever you feel deep inside of you that you want to achieve, and this is really my calling. This is what I really, really want. I want to, whatever, it could be anything, right? A writer, a producer of music, whatever. You see yourself in the future, what you're wearing, what you feel like, what you talk, how you're speaking.
You have to sense it.
Really see the visual mental picture and then bring it back to your future and be like, this is how I feel. Really embody it. And then
so you're sharpening the instincts. You're sharpening them like a knife.
So this is manifesting, right? You're manifesting. People don't realize, okay, you've heard the term karma from the past, right?
Yes.
People don't hear about creating your karma today for tomorrow.
100%.
You can still create your karma. Your karma is, it's a deeper level, but the main one that everyone knows is that your good deeds or the deeds that you do are going to create the karma that's for the future. Most people think about it in the past, but you can push that into the future. So so those are the three main things that I say, right? You be grateful for yourself, something about yourself. Be grateful for anything, a cup of coffee, that you're happy you slept through the night, that you're breathing today.
Take notes, family, take notes. Three things. Be grateful for yourself.
And the third one is, what is your future you? Where are you in the future? What do you really dream about? And embody it so that you can feel it inside of your heart. See every detail that you can, right? And don't ask yourself, like Boddhi's saying, don't ask yourself, how do I get there? Just know that is you and it's going to happen. Keep doing that every morning, every night before you go to bed, because you're still in that theta brain state. So when you wake up,
this is what it is.
Yeah, as you're getting out of sleep, you have that little window, 10 minutes, where you're still in the theta brain state, which is the state that we are when we're little kids, which is why from 0 to 7.
Yes, that's the divine state, right?
Well, it's the state that you're really like a sponge and you're impressionable, let's say, right? And then that's the state that you're falling into. When you go to sleep, you get into theta state. So you can actually reprogram your mind just by saying your gratitudes. What happened to me today? What am I grateful for?
Did you know that Ken Wilber? I don't know if you know Ken.
Absolutely. I love that guy.
Yeah, this guy was able to actually put his system in a theta state. He would actually put his heart at such a level. I mean, it was this guy could control his heart rate and set himself up in a theta state like this.
So I will say that people who meditate for many years can do that. I will say you can put yourself in that theta state. Definitely. He's a brilliant person. I love, he's written a gajillion books. He's amazing. So he can, for sure. I mean, if he's been doing stuff since he was in his early 20s. He was already writing his first book when he was really young. So he's got some amazing insights. But you can definitely put yourself in the theta state. It's just practice, just like everything else. You got to get there so you can be there, right? It's 100%. The same thing. 100%. Seeing yourself in the future, I'll say to you, my daughter will always say to me, since she could speak, Boddhi, since Lola could speak, okay? She's like, I'm going to be rich, mommy. And I'm like, do you even know what that means? Do you
That's
even
powerful.
know what that means? And she's like, yeah, I'm
That's
going to be rich,
powerful.
mommy. I'm going to be rich, mommy. I'm like, okay, well now put the pedal to the metal, babe. What are you doing?
Let's go. Can you please, for the sake of people really taking notes, and I hope that those watching have a pad and a pen or their phone, and repeat, please, for us the three important
Sure.
things that people need to put into motion for them to, you know.
Okay, you know what? I'll even give you, I'll even tell you 5 things to do. Okay. The
Fantastic.
first, yes, 5. Okay. First things first, you wake up, you open your eyes, or you
Mhm.
feel you're waking up, right? Your eyes are still closed, you feel you're waking up. At that moment, number 1, be grateful for something for yourself.
Mhm.
Something about you.
Absolutely. Yes,
Okay, so
that's what
that
it
could
is.
even be a trigger from the day before, right? Trigger
Yeah.
something, whatever. Number 2,
Mhm.
you think about gratitude for, it could be anything. The sun is shining, the clouds, the flowers, whatever you want. Grateful that you're alive another day.
Mm.
And the third one is about, it's future present thinking. Who are you? Like, who are you? What do you
Mm.
really want from your life? What is your greatest purpose? Like, how do you see yourself in the future?
Mm.
And bring it back to the present in terms of emotion.
Mhm. Mhm.
Feel it, think it. How do you walk? How do you talk? What do you look like? What are you wearing? Who are you with? What's your environment like? Like, really, like, imagine yourself there 100%.
Mhm.
Okay. Then I would do something that's called a wave breath that I'll explain on another occasion. But basically, it's just deep belly breathing. While you're still in bed, just breathe deeply from your belly all the way up to your crown and just relax. Like let it out with a sigh. So it sounds like this, right? Big belly breath in. Let's do it again, Boddhi. One more time.
Of course. Of course.
So just to make sure you do it right, you will put one hand on your belly. And
Yes.
that belly has to rise when you take a deep breath in. Yeah. And then you bring it all the way up to here. And then you just release it.
Yeah.
You release it through the mouth. You're just like,
Mm.
so it's almost like, I like to call it a wave breath. You
Mm.
inhale from your root, from your tailbone, bring it all
Mhm.
the way up to the belly like a big swell. Then it comes up through the chest, all the way up to the crown. And you
Mm.
just exhale and you let it crash on the beach, right?
Powerful.
So that's your 4th step. And then the 5th one is have like half a liter of water next to your bed, ready to go in the
Yes.
morning. And you down that whole thing, down it completely. And then you start your day, right?
Thank you. That's what it
No
is.
phones, no computers, no nothing,
Yeah.
right? And I would even say, go to the washroom, tell yourself, this is your 6th one, tell yourself your name, state your name, look at yourself straight in the mirror. I, Karla Gomez de la Peña, I, Boddhi Satva, love and accept, I appreciate myself as I am, and I trust myself
Very important.
completely, right?
100%. Yeah. I'm with you on that every day. Mhm.
And then jump in the shower and then start your day, okay? Because saying to yourself that you love, appreciate, and trust yourself while you're looking at yourself straight in the eyeballs, right? You're looking at your soul. You cannot escape.
You
You
can't.
can't escape, Boddhi.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. When I did that practice, I tell you, I cried 14 days in a row or 10 days in a row. And I was like, I can't do it. I can't tell myself I love myself. I can't do it. Oh my God. And then comes, oh my God, I have to forgive myself.
Yeah.
I have to forgive myself for not being fully in my presence, for not honoring myself as the powerful, strong mother, woman, partner that I really am, sister to myself.
Yeah.
Then you have to forgive yourself in that case. And that's a hard, bittersweet, bitter pill to swallow. If
Yeah,
you've gone,
it can be
your whole life without acknowledging who you really are.
powerful, man. Yo, I've got to say, people. I mean, you've gotten an opportunity to really. I'm excited. I'm really happy that we were able to have this conversation that we already have, privately. But I think it was important for, and that's always what I'm aiming to do, bringing forth friends and kindred spirits on my platform to really just share that good energy and just care and love, because I think that we're in terrible lack of it, and we're in terrible need of it at the same time. So, thank you very much for sharing with us. And before we leave, I really want you to please elaborate a little bit on your practice, right? Because,
Oh, thank
as
you.
I introduced you earlier, we spoke. I said that you're breathwork practitioner, you're a quantum flow practitioner, and an Ayurvedic practitioner. So, what does it mean? What do those three mean individually, and then how do you combine these practices into one body of work? Or is it how it works, or are they separated, or how do you go about it? And just let us know about that, please.
Thank you, Bodhi. So before I say that, I just want to tell everybody, like I was never told as a young girl or even as an adult that I have to be responsible. I am the only one responsible for my happiness. This is where a lot of people do the blame game. They blame other people, right? Because they haven't accepted responsibility for their own actions and their own mistakes and their own whatever, right? So
Yeah.
whatever you do from today, because every day is a new opportunity, right? Every day. That I think about that and I'm like, oh my God, every day is the gift of a new opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
really start your life. If you're not on the path already, it's an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity for you to start your life like fully 100% invested and knowing what your power is, right? So Ayurveda is my first love. This is what I learned first and foremost. It's a old thousands of years holistic system of healing that comes from India.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned this, I don't know, when I was 38. I learned it when I was 38. So I've been doing it for 12 years and I love it, right? It's a complete view of how you can. There's a reason behind every illness. There's a reason behind every thinking. There's a root cause for everything. There is an explanation why your body reacts a certain way and what is the root of it. And it's really about combining mental, emotional, and spiritual together. Okay. And so that's kind of like we can't get away from ourselves. And everyone is completely an individual. Even if you have a twin born a minute after you, you are both individuals completely. So truly, truly amazing. Breath work is the second thing that I so love it because I suffered from asthma as a young child,
Okay.
and I learned early on that I could really manipulate how I feel by the breath. So just a quick example, if you're in anxiety and stress, you'll be breathing more from your chest, which is fight or flight or hide, right? So a lot of people that are stressed out, they're like breathing like this, or they're on the phone stressed, like holding their breath. And
Yeah.
so this leads to a whole series of like anxiety, and people have attacks and they can't sleep at night and they're poor digestion, foggy brain, all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so the
Absolutely.
solution to that is then deep breathing. And there's different ways to do that is like so amazing for you. And it also leads to so much clarity. And it also, there's a breath for everything. There's a breath for if you're feeling sluggish or procrastinating, you need a little bit fire, right? There's also a breath for cooling. There's a breath for grounding. There's a breath. Listen, breath work is like pranayama. It's also an extension of Ayurveda. It's beautiful practice, right? And it's, when we're born, we're breathing the right way. It's only
100%.
after when traumas start to happen or realizations, then we get scared and we start to breathe from here and we clench our body. We're living more in contraction than in expansion. right? So we get
Yeah.
scared, we hold everything in, everything starts to
Mm.
shut down. And then my last one that I love, which is like mind blowing, is quantum flow.
It's
Oh
massive.
my gosh, listen, all the breathwork and the Ayurveda, they're traditional, they're amazing, they're the go-tos, they're like the
Yeah.
foundation, it's the rock, right?
Mhm.
Quantum flow is now combining all of that kind of like methodology. It lies on the backs of like these ancient traditional things that are so beautiful. But now you're talking the business. Now you're talking with like we're messing with the quantum field, which is the field of infinite possibilities, which
Mm.
then takes us to a whole completely other realm of like, where do we actually come from? Well, multidisciplinary,
Hmm.
multi-universal, right? We come from so many. Where do we come? Where was the last time you came from? Are you Arcturian? Are you Pleiadian? Are you Lyurian? Like, where do you come from?
Now you're
Andromeda?
tapping into some deep. You're tapping into some deep knowledge right there. Now you're
Yeah.
going deep. You might have to
Listen.
elaborate though.
So there's a whole thing going. Anyway, it's like too much, Bodhi. We'll be on here for another
No,
hour.
that's fine. That's fine. Okay, just sum it up, maybe just in a couple of lines, or maybe guide people towards maybe videos they can watch on YouTube or books.
Sure. So basically, quantum flow is all about tapping into your spiritual power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual meaning like multiverse experiences, multiverse history, multiverse knowledge, telepathy, what do you call what's it called? Clairvoyance,
Yes.
clairsentience, visualization. Like you can tap into these powers that belong to all of us. It's our birthright. We have this
Mm-hmm.
ability to do all these things. Like I have to say, I was meditating the other day and I got a very clear message to reach out to my baby brother here, Boddhi. And I did, and I reached out to him for specific reasons. And I was like, I just nobody picked up a phone and told me call Boddhi.
No,
I was
nobody.
told go call Boddhi for whatever reasons. And
Yeah.
you know, this for you to do this for me, I think it's so lovely for you. I appreciate it so much.
Of course, it's
But
normal.
this is our capacity. We have this
Yeah.
birthright to be able to communicate like this. And just
Yeah.
because certain things happen and we're born and we forget
Yeah.
where we really are from, right? So quantum flow helps you to remember. It helps you to release the past, helps you to release traumas by creating then a new record. So you have your old record of all the stuff from 0 to 7, 0 to 9, 0 to 12. You replace that with all the stuff you know who you are. I am love. I am power. I am beauty. I am forgiveness. I am compassion. I am like I am are the two most important words on the planet.
Yeah.
They are the two
Beautiful.
most important words on the planet. And so this is where we really tap into our existence. Who am I? What is my purpose? What is my power? So quantum flow, forget about it. Oh my gosh. It just really helps you to like release the past because let's be real. This existence on this planet is 3D. It's we're
Yeah.
living in duality, 3D, right
Yeah,
or
we do.
wrong, black or white, up and down, whatever, right?
Yeah.
If we really exist the way we really are, 3D is drama. It's playtime. It's a movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie. It's a drama being played on the movie. And do you really want to participate in that movie? Do you want to keep living that life? Or do you really want to move into the future, which is 5D, 6D, 7D,
Move
8D?
into reality, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, remembering who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
What is our true power? Like how can we tap into that? This is the quantum flow. Quantum flow is based. It's on the backs of these beautiful ancient traditions. But we're now at it. We're moving forward. We're not staying in the present. We're moving with the quantum field. So where do you want to play? Where do you want to live? Do you want to live in 3D? I don't want to live in 3D. Just because I'm
Definitely.
on this planet doesn't mean that I live in 3D.
Yeah. True.
The
100%.
more that I can differentiate myself from this reality, this 3D reality, and move into 5D, 60, 70, whatever, I'm flying. I'm now tapping into you on a totally, completely different level.
Where do people find these informations, and if they want to know more about what you're talking about, the quantum flow?
Yeah, so there's a couple of really amazing.
I mean, besides reaching out to you and getting you to do some work for them for sure, but I mean, if they want to search more, look into it more.
Yeah, there's I love, and I'm sure you've heard of him before, Joe Dispenza. He's amazing.
Of course, yes, absolutely.
Joe Dispenza. Oh my gosh,
I'm a big follower of the guy.
Yeah, so basically, quantum flow by my teacher Juan Pablo Barahona. Amazing, right? This is where I learned from him.
Pablo Barahona.
Okay. Yeah, Juan Pablo Barahona.
Juan Pablo Barahona. So Barajona. Hona. Okay.
Yeah, he's from I was going to say Puerto Rico, but that's wrong. He's from Costa Rica. Costa Rica. And this whole thing is actually the physical embodiment of what Joe Dispenza is teaching.
Okay.
So everything you read for Joe Dispenza, I'm able to show you how to do it physically so that you can get the results and actually change your physicality. Let go.
Beautiful.
Let go.
Family, I've told you, so not to cut you, sister, I've told time and time again my viewers about Joe Dispenza and this whole, practice of really, really tapping into these deeper layers of oneself. And here you have, this is why I said this show was very important. Another important show, of course, with someone like Karla who's able to really help you through guided sets of sequences, tap into these deeper realms of who you truly are and manifest something greater for your life instead of just living in that 3D and very, linear kind of life where you can be so many more things.
Imagine you live your whole life like this, right? Like this. And you want to open like this. All of a sudden, what's available to you?
Infinite possibilities. The quantum.
Totally.
Wow. Thank you very much, sister, for being such a beautiful source of information and, again, positivity and so humbled by you accepting this invitation and I hope that everyone who's watched this show and who will be watching this show understands that nothing great is achieved through comfort, and you're the proof of that. You've had to go through so much discomfort, so much realization, epiphanies, and shame and guilt and overcoming all these kind of like 3D like emotions and realities to really understand that you're vibrating at and actually allow yourself to vibrate at a much higher level and still be human, still sometimes having to deal with the 3D, guys, still slap a couple of bitches out. Try to vibrate in a positive and very, beautiful and enlightened frequency.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Lilma, thank you for tuning in. Well, it's about that time we have to let Sister Karla go. She has a lot to do. Please, family, as I said, I repeat, not only is Karla a friend, but also somebody as you have clearly seen, who is well informed, well educated in the field that she's practicing in, and wherever you are located in the world, you should just reach out to her. She's on Instagram. Your Instagram is
it's Karla.Lunaveda.
Karla.Lunaveda. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
so
like
you
the
see
moon, Luna.
Lunaveda.
Lunaveda.
That boy is Bombay guy indeed. Yes, indeed. To all our people in Montreal, Canada, and in Northern America, wherever you are located in the world, big shout out to you. And please reach out to Sister Karla for just reach out to her, and you won't even regret your investment. Because at the end of the day, if you really want to open yourself to other forms of achieving, the things that you want to achieve in your life, which is, I would say, happiness and just overall balance and harmony. You know, there are people that can help you achieve that have also gone through their own past, so they won't be judging you because they've also gone through their own sets of trials and tribulations.
Right. It's all about flying, Bodhi. It's time to fly. It's try to love. We're moving
Mm,
into a whole movement of love, forgetting the competition and the stoicism. We're just like, our whole direction is about raising your feminine energy within you, man or woman, and
mhm.
really healing the masculine. So there can be masculine women and obviously masculine men, but we got to raise a vibration of love and compassion, forgiveness, and so that the other one can be balanced. And so we can just
You're
really,
raising an important one, but go ahead. Yeah.
we can really then fly as individuals that are balanced. If your masculine and your feminine is balanced, then
Mm,
you become one inside of you. And you don't
mm.
need anyone to heal you from the outside. You've done the healing from the inside for yourself. And you become very strong, very, very powerful.
That's the word of the end for this show. Thank you, family, for tuning in. The Bodhi is the uh, uh, Shada Gang, and everyone else who's been watching the show. Thank you very much. This was Monday Quality Talks number 22 with my guests here today, tonight, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world, once again. Madame Karla Gomez de la Pena, also known as Lunaveda, signing out, and see you next week, Monday, for another MQT. But on Friday, remember, we have Quarantine Grooves. So stay tuned in. Once again, sister, thank you very much.
Thank
And
you,
I look forward
Bodhi.
to maybe having another conversation again where we could probably even maybe do an actual, segment where we actually show a little bit more of the
Sure.
practice.
Oh my gosh, mind blowing. I'm telling you, life changing. I love you,
Fantastic.
Bodhi. Thank you.
Love you
Thank
too,
you,
sister.
baby brother.
Yes, you know it, big sis. Blessings, family. We out. Peace.